There are many times that churches want to convey information through an announcement loop. These are slides up on the screen that help tell about events or information going on in the church, and you normally see these before or after a service. So let's check out how to make one of these. So I'm going to go to New Presentation, and I'm going to type in Loop. And this is where all of our slides will be. Now I could right-click on this first slide and add a media cue of an image and set it to foreground for our slide. But instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and I have a folder opened with 4 different images in it. I've selected all of them and I'm just going to drag them right inside. And you can easily add media inside ProPresenter this way. I'm just going to delete this slide because we don't need it anymore. And now we have our slides. The problem is if I would do this, I would have to manually click through all of these slides, and that's not really what we want to do. We want these to automatically move forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag select all of these slides, and then I'm going to right click and I'm going to do a go to next timer. Now I'm going to set this for, let's just do 2 seconds for now, which is kind of fast, but it will help us get our point across. And now when I click on this first slide, it's going to sit on the screen for 2 seconds, and then it's going to go to the next slide, and so on. What you'll notice here at the end is when our welcome lunch slide comes up, it's just going to stay there because it has no slide to go to. What we want it to do is to go back to the beginning. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go to my go to next timer, and I'm going to click on this little box that says loop to first slide. I'm going to hit OK. And now when I click on this presentation, I can arrow through, and once I hit this welcome lunch slide, it'll stay on for 2 seconds, and then it's going to go back to the beginning to our bake sale slide. Now what if you wanted to add in video inside your announcement loop? Well, you can do that. So let's go down to our foregrounds area, and I have a video in here, and I'm just going to drag it into my loop. So I'm just going to click and drag, and I'm just going to add it in right here. Now what's going to happen is this video is going to get hit here and it's going to start playing. But at the very end of this video, it would just play out to the end and stop. So I'm just going to try to scrub forward here to the very, very end. And so you'll see that it goes off the screen and it just stops. So again, what we need to do is add a go to next timer. So we're going to add a go to next timer, and in here you'll say, in case of foreground videos, this is the amount of time the last frame of video will be displayed. Well, we know the last video frame doesn't need to be displayed long, so we're actually going to set it for 0 seconds. So now when we play this, we're going to click here towards the end, and again, it'll play through these last few seconds, 3, 2, 1, and it's automatically going to go to that next slide, and now we've gone on. Now I accidentally set this as a go to loop to the beginning, so that's why that welcome lunch slide didn't show up. I'll just uncheck that and hit OK, and now we're back to normal. So it's going to again go through and play that video. Now what if we wanted to actually have a timer to tell people, hey, this loop of images is going on, but here's how much time you have until our service begins? Well, we can easily add that in. So I'm going to go to messages, and we have a couple options by default. We have a message or a countdown. We're going to use the countdown, and I want this to count down to a specific time, and I want that to be 5 o'clock for our night service. I type that in and hit enter to confirm, and then we can hit start, and you'll see that we have 31 minutes to go. So we can hit show message, and it's just going to show a 3140 in the middle of the screen, which doesn't really tell us much. So let's edit this and make it say something a little bit better. So I'm going to go into the editor, and I'm just going to click in here, and I'm going to say our next service begins in :space, and fix my spelling with my little 4 there. So our next service begins in, and then we have our countdown. And then I can also grab a template that I created for our countdown that's at the bottom of the screen. And so now when we say show message, you'll see our next service begins and it's running. And now we can close this out and we can go through our loop. And so you can see at the bottom of the screen, we have how long until our service begins, and our slides are up on the screen scrolling through. And even when our video plays here, it still has that message at the bottom of the screen so that you know our next service begins in 31 minutes.